Donald Trump likes to call himself the president of peace. His supporters repeat it like a mantra. No new wars. No new wars. They say the words and hope the facts will bend. The record shows the opposite. Trump governed by narrative, not by reality. He pushed a slogan and punished anyone who challenged it. Today, we look at what actually happened and why the anti-war label falls apart as soon as you check the facts. Start with Somalia. Under Trump, the United States set a new yearly record for airstrikes there. Reports from the military confirmed new strikes against an ISIS affiliate, and the yearly total moved past the previous high. The year was not even over when the record fell. That is not what an anti-war posture looks like. It is a policy of pressure from the air, with real risks for civilians and almost no public debate at home. The same voices who swore that Trump was different went very quiet. They did not condemn it. They did not even mention it. They looked away because the facts destroyed the brand. Somalia was not an outlier. Look at the broader pattern. Trump eased reporting rules on counter-terror strikes, transparency dropped, oversight weakened, and the tempo of drone operations rose. Human rights groups flagged civilian deaths. Investigations from journalists and watchdogs kept raising alarms. The reaction from the pro-Trump media world was silence or deflection. They said it was necessary. They said it was surgical. They said anything that would save the story they wanted to sell. Remember the first days of his presidency. His very first raid led to the death of a young American girl. Imagine the outcry if that had happened under a Democratic president on day one. Under Trump, it faded from the headlines in a week. Later, he issued pardons to contractors convicted for killings. In Iraq, that signaled that accountability for wartime abuses was optional if you had the right politics. He also authorized the use of the largest non-nuclear bomb in Afghanistan. That was not de-escalation. That was a fireworks show for the cameras. Budgets tell the same story. The Pentagon's top line kept rising. Contractors posted strong results. The money flowed to the same industry players. If you call yourself anti-war while growing the pipeline of contracts and operations, the label loses meaning. At the same time, the administration talked about bringing troops home while keeping forces in key oil areas of Syria. The message to the region was confusion. The message to the base was marketing. The message to the defense industry was clear and positive. Supporters point to a talking point. They say there were no new big wars. That bar is meaningless. Modern war is not only invasions and occupations. It is remote strikes, advisors on the ground, covert action, and constant budgets that rise year after year. If you expand those tools and reduce transparency, you are not ending war. You are moving it off screen. People also try to shift blame with whataboutism. They say Obama used drones. That is true, and it deserved criticism. Consistency means you demand the same scrutiny when a Republican does more of the same. Instead, many of the loudest anti-drone voices went silent when it was Trump. If the principle matters, it matters no matter who is in office. Otherwise, it is not a principle, it is a jersey. There is also the cost here at home. Every strike, every deployment, and every procurement choice comes with a trade-off. Money that could support healthcare, housing, disaster relief, or education gets locked into programs that never end. While citizens argue online about narratives, the budget moves on schedule and the checks clear. The price is paid by people who will never see a cent from those contracts and by communities that will never get a clinic or a repaired bridge. Why did the peace brand stick for so long? Because repetition works. Say a line enough times and a part of the audience will accept it. Punish dissent and many others will keep their heads down. Add a media environment that rewards outrage over detail and facts lose ground. That is how a myth survives in plain sight. Here is the simple truth. Trump set records for strikes in places most voters never hear about. He lowered transparency, raised the budget, and treated accountability as optional. That is not anti-war. That is power used out of sight and sold as restraint. If you care about peace, you care about facts, not slogans. You care about civilian lives in Somalia as much as you care about talking points on cable news. You care about where the money goes and who profits when the bombs fall. What should we watch next? Watch whether any administration restores full public reporting on strikes and casualties. Watch whether Congress reclaims real oversight of authorizations for force and drone policy. Watch the budget lines for procurement and operations. Watch whether the United States reduces its footprint in contested oil regions or keeps forces there under a new name. Do not accept a brand. Demand a record. Bottom line. Trump was not the president of peace. He sold a story and many people bought it. The record does not. If truth matters, we have to say what happened and keep saying it until the facts are louder than the slogan. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Sharp Angle and turn on notifications. Independent analysis survives only if you want it. Here is a concrete test for any future claim of anti-war credibility. Does the White House publish clear data on where strikes occur and who is harmed? Do they limit the legal permissions that allow open-ended action? Do they end blank check authorizations that have been stretched for decades? If the answer is no on those basics, then the branding does not match the policy. Consider Congress. Real oversight means votes that set limits and sunsets. Real oversight means hearings that force disclosure and independent audits that track civilian harm. Real oversight means the ability to stop operations that drift beyond their stated goals. If lawmakers dodge those steps, then speeches about peace are theater. Consider the media environment. A healthy press tracks the numbers, not just the noise. It keeps a ledger of strikes, budgets, and outcomes. It follows the people on the ground who live with the results. It does not let a campaign line erase a public record. Citizens have power here too. Reward outlets that do the work and stop sharing content that treats policy like a team sport. What would a real de-escalation policy look like? First, restore full civilian casualty reporting and outside review. Second, tighten the rules that govern when and where remote strikes are allowed. Third, narrow mission creep by tying deployments to specific goals and timelines. Fourth, shift money from permanent war budgets to domestic resilience so that the default choice is not more force. These steps are boring. They are also what change looks like when slogans fade and the work begins. Finally, remember why the narrative was so tempting. It promised strength without consequence and peace without trade-offs. That fantasy sells. Reality is harder. Reality is a ledger, a timeline, and a map with places like Somalia that deserve attention even when they are not in the headlines. If we care about peace, we owe the public an honest account and a plan that can be measured. Anything less is just another slogan waiting to be sold.